Daniel Matthews thought he'd planned the perfect crime. A plane crash over the Atlantic. No body to recover. A grieving daughter too broken to ask questions. Within 14 days, Apex Technologies would be his. The board meeting was scheduled. The paperwork was ready. The champagne was on ice. But Daniel made one miscalculation that would cost him everything. He forgot that Robert Chun's daughter inherited more than just his fortune. She inherited his mind. And while Daniel was forging death certificates, Emma was breaking into encrypted servers. While he was rehearsing his eulogy, she was tracing digital breadcrumbs that led to the company's own basement. While he planned a memorial service, she was planning a resurrection. But to understand how a 17-year-old hacker brought down 2 corporate executives and saved her father's life, we have to go back 3 weeks to the night everything shattered. The Apex Technologies building cut into the Boston skyline like a blade of glass and chrome. Robert Chun's corner office had panoramic views of the harbor, but tonight he barely noticed them. He was reviewing quarterly reports. His daughter Emma sitting cross-legged on his office couch, laptop balanced on her knees, working on her latest coding project. This was their routine. Since her mother died 3 years ago, Emma spent most evenings at the office. It was their time together, their way of healing without words. Robert looked at his daughter, 17 years old, brilliant beyond measure, already fielding scholarship offers from MIT and Caltech. She had her mother's determination, and somehow, despite losing so much so young, she still smiled, still created, still believed in good things. He didn't notice Daniel Matthews watching them through the smart glass wall. Didn't see Rebecca Taylor in the hallway, checking her watch, sending a single text. Tomorrow night. Flight 552. The next evening, Robert kissed his daughter goodbye. He had a conference in Chicago, just 2 days, he'd promised. He'd be back Friday for her science fair. He never missed her events. Never. Emma was in physics class when the principal pulled her out. The moment she saw his face, she knew. The words that followed were wrapped in sympathy and procedure, but they all meant the same thing. Her father's private jet had lost contact with air traffic control over the Atlantic Ocean. Search and rescue teams were looking. They'd found debris. No survivors expected. The next 72 hours blurred into a nightmare of condolence calls. News reporters and Apex executives appearing at her door with folders of paperwork. Daniel Matthews showed up with flowers and sad eyes, explaining how the board had appointed him interim CEO. Rebecca Taylor arrived with lawyers, gently suggesting that Emma might want to consider their acquisition offer less stressed during such a difficult time. Emma nodded through it all, accepted the hugs, signed what they told her to sign. But at night, alone in her room, she did what her father had taught her: look at the data. She pulled up her network monitoring system and started backtracking through Apex's servers. Her father's last communication had been at 9:17 p.m., but at 9:20, 3 minutes later, there was a data spike, someone accessing flight management systems from inside Apex, from Daniel's terminal. Emma's hands started shaking. She dug deeper, found encrypted communications between Daniel and Rebecca dating back 6 months. References to the timeline, the transition, removing obstacles. Her breath caught when she found the flight plan. Her father's jet had been remotely compromised. Then she found something that stopped her heart, a live signal. Buried deep in the company's internal network was an active biometric tracker, her father's tracker. And it wasn't in the Atlantic Ocean. It was in the basement of Apex Technologies headquarters. Emma spent the next 18 hours confirming what seemed impossible. She hacked into the building's security cameras until she found it. Grainy footage from 3 nights ago, showing Daniel and Rebecca dragging an unconscious man through the underground parking garage toward a restricted section marked Server Room C. The man was her father. Her father was alive. Alive and imprisoned in his own company's basement while the people he trusted prepared to declare him dead and steal everything. Emma's grief transformed into fury, then crystallized into focus. She couldn't just call the police. Daniel and Rebecca had been careful. They had alibis, doctored records, a plane that had actually crashed. If she moved too fast, they'd kill her father for real. She needed evidence. Ironclad, undeniable, public evidence. And she needed her father's help. Emma hacked into Apex's systems and left a message in a place only her father would find it. A back door they built together years ago, hidden in the source code. She coded a message in their secret language. The message was simple. Dad, I know you're alive. I know where you are. Trust me. If you're on the edge of your seat, please like and subscribe, because what this father and daughter do next is the most brilliant revenge plot in corporate history. In the basement server room, Robert Chun sat on a concrete floor, his hands zip-tied behind his back. Daniel and Rebecca visited once a day with food and water, keeping him alive but weak. They'd explained their plan. The jet crash was perfect. The memorial service was scheduled. After the 14-day waiting period, they'd file for presumed death, trigger the corporate succession clause, and take control of Apex Technologies. But then something changed. The server banks around him suddenly flickered, their usual steady hum shifting in rhythm. Robert recognized it immediately. Morse code in the server cooling fan patterns. Someone was manipulating the system to send him a message. His eyes filled with tears as he decoded it. Dad, it's Emma. I found you. Play dead. I have a plan. Over the next hour, through carefully manipulated server signals, Emma explained her plan. It was insane, brilliant, terrifying. Robert would fake a medical emergency. When Daniel came down to check, Robert would convince him that stress had triggered a heart attack. Daniel would panic, realize a body with clear signs of recent life would ruin everything. He'd have to get Robert real medical help secretly, through a private clinic he controlled. That's when Emma would make her move. The plan unfolded exactly as Emma predicted. Robert's performance was Oscar-worthy. Daniel's panic was real. He moved Robert to a private medical facility he secretly owned. What Daniel didn't know was that Emma had hacked into that clinic's systems, planted monitoring software in every computer, every camera, every phone. For the next 14 days, while the world mourned Robert Chun's death, while the memorial service played out with fake tears and hollow eulogies, Emma orchestrated the most sophisticated digital heist in Boston's tech history. She compiled everything. The flight system hacks, the encrypted communications, the financial transfers showing Daniel and Rebecca had been embezzling for months, the clinic records proving Robert was alive, security footage from the basement, everything. But she didn't go to the police. She went bigger. On the morning of the Apex Technologies acquisition press conference, the event where Daniel and Rebecca would officially announce their new leadership, Emma uploaded everything to the company's public server. Every screen in the building, every monitor in the press room, every device connected to Apex's network suddenly displayed the evidence. Daniel was mid-sentence, announcing the company's new direction, when the screens behind him lit up with security footage of him dragging Robert's unconscious body through the parking garage. Rebecca was opening champagne when every TV switched to her encrypted messages detailing the embezzlement scheme. And Robert Chun, dressed in a suit, very much alive, walked through the main entrance of Apex Technologies with FBI agents at his side and his daughter's hand in his. The press conference exploded into chaos. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted. Daniel and Rebecca were arrested before they could reach the exits, their faces pale with the realization that they hadn't just lost. They'd been beaten by a 17-year-old girl who turned their own technology against them. 3 months later, Robert Chun stood in his rebuilt corner office, watching the sunset. His daughter Emma sat at the desk next to his, not as a visitor anymore, but as Apex Technologies' youngest chief security officer in history. Daniel Matthews and Rebecca Taylor were serving 25 years for kidnapping, attempted murder, fraud, and corporate espionage. But Robert didn't think about them anymore. He thought about the message his daughter had sent through those server cooling fans. Play dead. I have a plan. 6 words that had saved his life and proved something he'd always known. The bond between a parent and child isn't just blood or love. Sometimes it's code. Sometimes it's trust written in programming language. Sometimes it's the faith that even when the whole world thinks you're gone, someone who shares your DNA and your genius will move heaven, earth, and encrypted servers to bring you home. The question isn't whether betrayal exists, as it always will. The question is, when everything is taken from you, do you have someone who'll hack the world to give it back?